We all enjoy traveling, but there are certain sites that we would rather avoid seeing around the planet. Believe it or not, there are still some dangerous, isolated tribes that continue to live a barbaric and primitive existence in the world. They want to be left alone. If you try to enter their territory, they will take you out. Prepare to fasten your seatbelt because they seem to be prevalent in the world, from an isolated Indian island community to a modest Philippine village. In this video, we are going on a journey deep into the earth to look at top 10 scariest tribes you would not want to mess with. But before we start, please subscribe to our channel Unimaginable and hit the bell icon for more updates. Here are the top 10 scariest tribes you would not want to mess with. Number 10. The Asmat Tribe. What exactly do they do and why are they so hazardous? In a nutshell, people like you and I could be served on a beautiful little plate with some garnish and some salt and worm. They have this sort of thing for skulls where they use it as pillows. They also display their skulls as decorations, putting it in an honorable position inside their homes. And if that was not terrifying enough for you, I have got more. Because each person there is named after someone they have murdered. Which means, in order to acquire a name, you must go out and kill someone. After they have set out to, in essence, murder another guy from an enemy village, some youngsters do not receive names until they are 10 years old. However, missionaries have come into contact with them and there has been some progress made. Number 9. North Sentinels. The North Sentinels are one of the most frightening tribes among all those that reject our way of life. The indigenous people of North Sentinel of Andaman and Nicobar Islands have been residing there for roughly 55,000 years, with no interaction with the wider world. Efforts were made to communicate with them in the late 1960s, but it did not turn out well. They were hostile from the start, and the government eventually gave up in the late 1990s to keep them safe from our diseases and protect their sovereignty. You may believe you can simply go rambling onto the island for a peek because there is a 5-kilometer territorial barrier around their island, but we strongly advise against it. 2 fishermen who illegally harvested crabs off the island never returned. A missionary was sent there to preach Christianity, and he too never returned. Even 2 fishermen who got lost ended up being killed. They attack anyone who approaches and have even attempted to fire arrows at a helicopter. Basically, keep away from them if you do not want to die. Video smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell right now before we go on, or this centipede will crawl across your face while you are sleeping. Number 8. Aari Tribe. The Aari people can be found in Ethiopia and parts of South Sudan. The southwestern region of Ethiopia is home to around 34,000 Aari people, who are divided into 3 groups. They have a similar belief system to many other civilizations, with a sky deity known as Tumu. One member of the tribe, the Kimuru, serves as a go-between for the unfortunate individuals and the sky god. In Ethiopia, Aari tribe members tend to dwell in semi-arid dry hillside valleys rather than being entirely cut off from society. The Aari tribe, which resides in Oromia region of Ethiopia, has conflicts with surrounding Sudanese tribes that pillage Ethiopian territory. These rivalries have grown increasingly intense, with automatic guns firing deadly fights. The majority of the weapons have originated from the ongoing Sudanese civil conflict. The Aari tribe is also quite culturally attached, and they practice a number of customs that are not seen very often nowadays. Women prepare for marriage by removing their bottom teeth, piercing their lower lips, and adding a clay lip plate, among other things. However, the more exposed they become to different civilizations, the less popular this custom becomes. Number 7. Akansu Tribe. This tribe is one you are unlikely to have heard of. Unfortunately, with only around 4 individuals in the tribe left, it is on the verge of extinction. They come from Rondônia in Brazil and speak a distinct Akansu language. While their numbers may have been high at one time, that all changed in the 1980s when Brazilian cattle ranches waged war on them. It is thought that they launched the assault because if official avenues were utilized to establish contact with them, their forest would be turned into an indigenous reserve surrounded by 2 loggers and cattle ranchers. After the attack, only a few people were left. They are hunter-gatherers who supplement their diet with some agriculture. Contact was made with them in the late 90s when it was discovered that they had just 7 members remaining at the time. A tree fell on one of their homes and killed the youngest girl in 2000. Number 6. The Heno Tribe. The Heno Tribe dwells in the jungles of Papua New Guinea, an area infested with crocodiles. It takes over a month of trekking through wild terrain or paddling down a winding long river to reach them. Owing to their tiny size and stature, their women are able to camouflage themselves in the jungle and have eyes on people without being noticed because they are so small and short, not to mention that their males are quite ingenious. Supposedly, they have incredible balance and can dash between trees with ease, the sort of fantastic stuff you see on television these days. What makes them so hazardous is that they are just like the Asmat Tribe I previously mentioned, in that the Yefo people are headhunters as well, except they do not sleep on the skulls. They simply take them as trophies to keep strangers away. Number 5. The Kujareno. The Kujareno people, commonly known as the Namol, are Amazonian hunter-gatherers and a nomadic indigenous tribe in Manu National Park of Mater de Dios region in Peru. They generally reside in the Manu National Park and speak a Pura language dialect. Their number is thought to be between 100 and 250 people, up from just 20 to 100 a few decades ago. They typically stay away from other non-indigenous people, so we should not hold it against them. In the 1890s, Peruvian billionaire Carlos Fitzcarrald ordered his troops to massacre the majority of the tribe in the upper Manu River region. Survivors fled to remote forests and have remained there ever since, although camps on the Los Piedras River banks are used by them during the dry season for fishing. They remain in the rainforest throughout the wet season. Some, on the other hand, have actually come into direct contact with non-natives. The BBC said that some had sought food from the locals. In order to keep them safe from our modern diseases, the Peruvian government expressly prohibited any contact. Number 4. Mochen Tribe. The Mochen people are an Austronesian tribe that lives on the Mergui archipelago in Burma. This island chain is disputed by Thailand and Burma, with 800 islands included in the group. According to experts, the Mochen people may have originated in southern China 6,000 years ago and migrated to various South Asian islands between 2,000 and 3,000 years ago. The Mochen people now reside on these islands, where they survive as semi-nomadic hunter-gatherers reliant on the sea for their livelihood. There are approximately 1,500 males, 1,500 females, and they speak a unique Austronesian language known as Mochen, despite their deeply entrenched culture and way of life. Their population is decreasing, and because of their migratory lifestyle, they face numerous issues owing to contemporary immigration and property regulations. However, they have adapted to a modern way of life to an extent. Their children go to mainstream schools and are exposed to mainstream cultural ideas. However, those living on the islands of Surin tend to live a more traditional lifestyle. They live off flora and fauna with tools like spears and nets, and have, in recent years, started trading their food for local market goods. Number 3. The Shai. The Shai people are a fascinating ethnic group. They are also known as the Laura Wetland Tribe and reside in northeast-most areas of Russia. There were about 14,000 of them in the late 20th century, divided into two major groups, Reindeer Shai and Maritime Shai. Laurel Wetland is their native language, but they dwell on opposite sides of Siberia. The Reindeer Shai rely on domesticated deer herds for transportation, milk, meat, and fur products. Maritime Shai, on the other hand, subsist largely of fish and marine animals hunted from boats. Their customs are dependent on their location as well. Maritime Shai have established settlements, while Reindeer Shai live in tents and travel with seasonal pasture changes. Although their lifestyles are different, their religious beliefs are quite comparable. They believe that supernatural beings exist all around us and offer shamanist rituals for healing and divination. They celebrate festivals with blood sacrifices. Number 2. Aari Tribe. The Aari group of people from Uttar Pradesh, India, live a distinct way of life. There are roughly 70 members, and they participate in post-mortem ceremonies that are certainly unusual from ours. While we have modest funerals, the Aari people smear their cremation ashes on their skin and utilize human bones for skull cups and jewelry. They think many of their customs have curative qualities, and they accept death as a necessary element of human existence. The Aari people, like many others in India, are also followers of Ayurveda. They believe that the best ways to heal patients is by purifying them using scientifically based procedures and removing pollutants from them. This is because they believe in the excellent bodily and mental states of the Aari as well as their near-death experience. Some people see the Aari as a danger to Indian youth, describing their lifestyles as damaging and they live like animals, uncivilized in contrast to contemporary Hindu society. Their goal in life is not to impress others. They may be found throughout India, Nepal, and parts of Southeast Asia, but they are quite a hidden group who want nothing to do with fame or social approval. Number 1. Mochen Tribe. The Asero people are a tribe of small numbers that wear traditional clothing, including mud masks. They reside in Goroka, a village in the Eastern Highlands region of Papua New Guinea. There are a lot of ideas out there, and it is conceivable that even they do not know the real cause anymore. An enemy tribe vanquished them and compelled them to flee to the Asero River, according on one version of events. Here, they met a guy who offered them mice to put down, whatever that means. They waited until twilight, believing the one with the eyes to kill had been captured by his foes. The opposing army saw him emerging from the muck banks coated in slime and took him prisoner. He was a spirit, since most Papua New Guinea tribes are afraid of ghosts, and their foes ran in panic. They did not realize that their enemies were still there. However, their opponents were so scared that they fled to their village and held a ceremony in order to dispel the spirits. Legend has it that because the mud from the Asero River was poisonous, they could not cover their faces with it, so they made masks out of stones.